isn't baby, this is always. This is love. This isn't sometimes. This isn't baby.
bathroom. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be starting with our next round of speakers at 11:30. So please start making your way back to the main auditorium. Thank you.
Testing.
Right, welcome back, everybody. So, show of hands. How were the mentoring sessions? Beneficial? Hands up in the air means a yes. Okay, fantastic. We do have a second round that will be coming up, so you'll have an opportunity to speak to more individuals and ask the questions. So, a few things that I would like to highlight. We do have the Africa Business Radio broadcasting live from this venue today. And we are also streaming live on YouTube. So if you would like to get involved in the conversation, please use GEW 2018. We've already got some of you that are communicating with us, and it's actually quite awesome to see all the feedback. So please keep it coming. The second thing is I've had a few questions around the Xbox. So clearly somebody wants to win the best gaming platform in the world. So in terms of, was that a sarcastic laugh? I think not. So if you would like to win the Xbox, what you need to do is you need to get stamps from all 4 of the partners that are upstairs, tear out the page from your booklet, because we want you to keep that. It has a lot of information in it, and then drop it in the box upstairs. Please ask one of the promoters if you don't know where the box is. Going to the next round of sessions, please also have a look at who the mentors are and what sessions they are covering. It'll just help you navigate who you need to speak to in terms of the area of expertise. Okay, so now going on to our next speaker. Now, she wrote her first program at the age of 8. 8. Unbelievable, right? And over the past 20 years, she has fulfilled various roles as a developer, database administrator, as well as an architect. As her roles changed, she realized that the only thing that is constant is change. And that is still true today when it comes to the ever-evolving world of technology and cloud computing. She is committed to lifelong learning and opening her mind to endless opportunities that are within our reach, very similar to the startups that are here with us today. Her passion is technology and how she can use technology to help her customers understand their business and their customers better. Please join us in welcoming Minette Steinberg, who is going to talk to us about innovating artificial intelligence. Thank you, Minette.
Hi, everyone. Okay, I'm just checking if this thing is working. I want to show you artificial intelligence in action. So before I start my session, you can see this QR code. If you download this app, you'll be able to follow what I'm saying on your phone in multiple languages. So you can choose. Unfortunately, we don't have any of our African languages just yet, but we're working on that. So for now, what I've done is I've enabled English subtitles on my English talking. And this isn't pre-recorded. This is AI translating what I'm saying as I'm saying it. And looking at this, you will notice as we move through the presentation that sometimes it doesn't quite catch what I'm saying. And that is one of the reasons why we need to ensure that when we talk about AI and when we innovate with AI, we don't place our biases in artificial intelligence, because machines are not biased. Humans are biased, unfortunately, all of us. And there are certain gaps. And I will talk a little bit about that more a little bit later. Okay, so Let me just put on my... so I'm here to talk today about how to innovate with AI. First, who is Microsoft? So Microsoft have a mission statement. In the 80s, it used to be something like, we want to put a desktop on every desk in every home. And I think it's fair to say that we've achieved that. So then later on, we had to change our mission statement. And now what we want to do is we want to empower every person in every organization to achieve more. And how are we going to do this? We are going to do it by amplifying human ingenuity with intelligent technology. Okay, so what is AI? Do any of you know what AI is? Show of hands, who knows what AI is? Okay, show of hands, who of you have used AI today? Who of you have AI in your pocket? Oh, most of you. I think the thing is, if you look at what the future is going to look like, well, let's say 10 years ago when you woke up, you got some coffee, you took the newspaper, you opened the paper, you saw what was happening. And what happens today? So today you get your smartphone out, you see what emails you got, you see what the news are of the day, the things that you're interested in that's been filtered specifically for you. And what is this going to look like in the future? It's basically going to look the same, right? You're going to wake up, you're going to tell your AI presence to please get your coffee ready. Your coffee will be ready by the time you get there. Your news will be displayed, customized to the things you're interested in on the screen that's part of your wall in your house. You're going to have an agent who is going to be your personal assistant to do anything that you need to do or that you want them to do. Okay, so getting back to what is AI. So this is a human, that person there, you can't see him, the man. Can also be a woman for inclusion. We are humans. And what makes humans so special? We have certain abilities that differentiate us from any other species and from computers. And the first thing is that we have perception, meaning that we can feel how a situation feels, we can see what is contained in an image or picture or in our environment, and we can perceive that. Secondly, we can learn. And the thing about humans is that we can learn extremely quickly. So, for instance, if you walk down the road and there's a hole, you might step in the hole, and then the next time you walk there, you wouldn't do that. I don't think this thing can hear me properly because it's only using the audio on my laptop. Anyway, so let me turn that off so it not distract you. If I can even do that. Okay, never mind. You can keep looking at the subtitles. So another thing that sets us apart is that we are able to speak and we are able to listen, and more than that is that we are able to interpret what we hear. Okay, so machines cannot interpret really what they hear. And we will show you what we've done in that regard to advance this further. Another thing is that we can learn. We can learn from books, we can learn through what we see, we can learn through situations, experience, all of those things. And last but not least is we can reason. We can say, given the information, in the situation that I am, this is my decision. And I can make intelligent decisions based on information that I have. So then what is AI? Now AI, we can see, it can hear, well, through microphone, surely. It can learn to a certain extent, and it can reason. And that is what AI is. And the whole mission of AI is to create machines that can do everything that a human can do, at least as well as a human, or better. So when we look at machine learning and intelligence, or artificial intelligence, this isn't a new thing. It actually started years and years ago, like 1950, when they started seriously investing in artificial intelligence. And back then, people tried lots of different things. And you can say, but wow, it's been like 55 years. Why have we not done more with it? And the answer is that people tried things and it didn't work. So then they tried some other things and everybody got excited and they did a lot of stuff and it didn't really have the desired results. And also, you were limited by the amount of memory or CPU that you had lying around. So then in the 1980s, towards the end, we had something that we called expert systems. I think most of you are too young to remember that. But basically, people coded machines or programs that had a lot of if and then statements. And they could basically reproduce expertise based on scenarios. So you can say, if it's red, then do this. If it's green, then do that. If it's red and green, then do this. So you basically have to cater for every possible scenario. And then later on, we thought, okay, that is not going to work. Scrap that idea. But we still do that. We call that programming, regular programming. But now what we do is we take a computer and we teach it how to learn. So we basically give it examples of something, and then we say, based on this, you can extrapolate that the answer is this. And an example of that would be, for instance, if you're using Excel, you might have noticed that if you have a number or dates and you want to move to the next column and you want to copy that value and increase the date by a day or by a month or whatever, you can give it an example, you drag it down, and then it will show you the entire the sequence by itself. So that is an example of artificial intelligence that you use every day. And that is a machine learning algorithm that does that. And then, let me just stop this thing. It's distracting. Okay, sorry about that. It was distracting. It can't hear me properly because of the noise around. So then eventually what we got into is deep learning. So deep learning is what you might have heard of before, is like neural networks. So neural network is similar to what we have in our heads, our brains. So we're trying to get machines to do what we can do by simulating basically the function of our brain. Of course, humans are able to consume multiple streams of input and then provide feedback based on all of those inputs at the same time. With neural networks, we're unfortunately not there yet, but it can come very close. So we do have human parity on a lot of these things, and it took a very long time, but suddenly, like in the last 2 years, you will notice 2 or 3 years that there's been huge advances. And these advances have been because, we have more and more people participating, and we have access to better information. So in 2016, We reached human parity with a vision test. So, and this was object recognition. So for instance, you could put an object in front of the computer and it will take a picture of it, or it will just look at it and it will say, okay, that's an apple, or that's an orange. And when you put a human next to it, the times that the human would say it was an apple and the times that the machine would say it was an apple would be the same. Then in 2017, we reached human parity on speech. So of course there are caveats. And this is another topic, another thing, and I think Theo will talk about the bias of AI later. But because the machines depend on examples that they are given, they will understand. So for instance, this AI that is supposed to do my transcription didn't understand me properly because it doesn't understand my accent. It has not been trained to use my very local Afrikaans accent, right? So therefore, it's difficult for it to understand me. And those are kind of things that we need to take into account. So yes, if we speak English properly, not like me, then the machine will understand you just as well as any other human would. And then speaking, seeing, reading, all of those things mean nothing. Comprehend. So if you're reading something, you must be able to know what it means. What is the context? And we passed I think it's a Stanford University, have a reading comprehension test, and we did pretty well on that. And then, of course, we got human translation, and if this app was working right now and could understand me, you would have been able to translate what I'm saying on your phones in real time. Okay, so why now? Okay, so I already mentioned that suddenly we have a lot of computers at our disposal. And I think it was about in 2012 that someone made a huge, or set the benchmark in terms of neural networks and convolutional neural networking by identifying cat videos from the internet. And you know that took about 16,000 computers to do. So yes, if you had 16,000 computers, you could do that. But none of us do, or do we? Now, with like the event of the cloud, anybody has any amount of compute at their disposal at the touch of a button. And that has really helped to catapult artificial intelligence forward. Powerful algorithms. So Microsoft and all of the communities have together created multiple powerful algorithms that you can download, you can use, you can customize, and you can get started that way. And then, of course, data. Data is the most important thing when it comes to training a model. And you would be surprised, like we think that we have a lot of data now, but when you're testing a prototype on a specific scenario, like let's say, for instance, the autonomous car, you'd be surprised at how little data you actually have. So, for instance, you know, if you wanted to test your autonomous car, you would have to make sure that anything that could go wrong will, so that you can teach that car how to deal with everything that happened. And so you might not have that data. And to get that data, you'd have to run simulations because it would be too costly in real world. And still, you cannot be prepared because a computer is not a human. A human can still make a decision quickly based on all of those. A machine has to be trained to make those decisions. And I think when you look at that, and you know, you think about all of the movies and AI in the movies and the robots and what they can do, and they look just like us and they talk like us and they pretend to be us and they try to kill us. You know, we are not there. Okay, so why Microsoft, really? So our philosophy is that we don't want AI just to be used by large corporations who spy on you. What we want is for everybody to be able to use AI, to promote their business, to interact, to solve their socioeconomical problems. We want you to use it to jumpstart everything, all of the endeavors that you're going to undertake. And you can do that by thinking of a multitude of ideas. For instance, AI can be used to improve farming so that people can eat. AI can be used to identify patients in hospitals so that people can get treated faster. There are multitude of examples, and I think that you can think of yourself. And I'm going to show you an example now of just exactly how easy it is. And that is what we're saying. We are offering cognitive services, which is deep learning to everybody, to allow everybody to start from the same point, and then you can only be limited by your imagination. It's easy, it's flexible, it doesn't matter what language your developers speak, or it doesn't even matter if you're a developer at all. So you think, okay, to use AI, I must be a data scientist. No, you don't have to be a data scientist. You just have to think up a scenario or an idea that can help you improve your business, get the competitive advantage, or help those people around you. And I'll show you now how easy it is. So here are some examples. So we have vision, speech, language, knowledge, and search. So for instance, every time you do a search on a search engine, it's using cognitive services. Every time you are speaking to your assistant on your phone, I don't know if you have Siri or Bixby or what's the other one? You're using cognitive services and deep learning. Okay, so what I want to show you quickly is I know I'm a little bit over time. Is that okay? I want to show you how easy it is. So let's have a look at, I must first get permission. Can you see my screen? No, I must stop the presentation. Okay. So this is a website, and the links will be available for computer vision. So what I can do here is I can upload an image. Oh, no. Oh, it is on duplicate. It's not working? No, it's off. Anything now? No. Oh, the resolution of the screen. Sorry about that. Okay. So there we go. Okay. So let me show you an example. So this is an interface where you get to test some of the Microsoft Cognitive Services. So this is vision. So what I can do is I can just upload an image and like this. And what it will do, did it upload it now? Open. Okay, so there's my image. So it had a look at the image and it says, okay, these are the tags that I found. Water, outdoor, raft, yellow, watercraft, river. And then it gives us information about how confident it is that it is actually right about what it's seeing. And the confidence score is always a score between 0 and 1. So 0.998 is a pretty confident guess that it knows what this is. So now we can take it a little bit further. So this is what we call custom vision. And this is where I'm showing you how easy it is for you to get started with artificial intelligence today. So if you go to custom vision, you can just create a new project. Obviously, you have to log in first. You can sign up. It's free. And then you can try this out for free. So you create a project, and it's as easy as this. And I'm going to call it Mango Demo. And use the trial, so I don't have to pay anything for it. And then I'm going to do a classification, multi-label type, and I'm going to say it's a food. So now I'm going to create my project. And what I'm going to do, and I am by no means an expert on mangoes. I found these images on the internet today and sort of decided what I think are good mangoes and what are bad mangoes. So I can add images. So I'll go here and I'll say, okay, this is my folder with images of good mangoes. So I open those and I select all of these and I upload these images. And here I can put in tags, and I can put in multiple tags, but in this case, let's just say good mangoes. Okay, and I upload this. Okay, so now I have all the images that I think are good mangoes or the type of mangoes that I would like to buy. And now I'll add more images and I'll call them bad mangoes or overripe mangoes or any, mangoes you wouldn't buy. Maybe let's say class D and so let's just call this bad mangoes. And then I upload them. So now I have two sets of files. I have good mangoes and I have bad mangoes. I haven't told this machine or the AI or the algorithm that I'm actually working with mangoes. I might have typed that as a title, but that was just a title. It doesn't really know what these things are. It just knows it's looking at things. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to train this model. So it's training. It's quick, don't worry. Okay, and then it came back with a result, and it says, well, it's pretty sure that if it says it's a good mango, it is right. And it's pretty sure that of the ones that should be predicted correctly, what does it say? That it actually got the correct percentage right. So it says, okay, I'm about 66. I think I'll get about 66% of them right. And then we can test it. So now what we do is we've basically told it. It says, okay, on precision for good mangoes, it's about 75% certain. For recall, about 80%. For bad mangoes, 72 and 50%. So now the question is, if I give it a mango that it has never seen, will it tell me, is it a good mango or a bad mango? So I'll do a quick test, and I'll upload an image of a mango that it has not seen before. Here I have some untagged mangoes. Let me go. Let's start with... let's start with this one. I don't think I would want to see this. We eat this one, so let's see what it thinks. Okay, so it's saying it's about 88.7% sure that this is a bad mango, but 4.5% sure that it is a good mango. Okay, so I think that was fairly successful. So now, but we have to make sure that we know. So let me add another mango that I haven't used before. So I'm going to add this mango. This looks like a really nice mango, maybe a little bit green, but anyway. So it says it's 71% sure that it's a good mango. But also it could potentially be a bad mango because it's only like 49% sure that it's not a bad mango. So that is interesting. And there are things, so for instance, if I take a different mango, and I had one here that was like, and to be honest, I wasn't able to tell myself whether or not this was a good mango. And in this case, it classified it as a bad mango, but I personally think that it's a good mango. So now, what do you do? If you don't agree with the outcome of your machine learning, what you can do is you can go back to your training images. You can upload some more images. You can upload more tags and give it more information. Then you can retrain your model and try again until you get a solution that is satisfying to you. And that's how easy it is to actually access this. And then when you're satisfied, what you can do is you can, where's now my result? Predictions. You can actually export the code and you can use that in your, I did not, okay. You can export the code and you can use it in your applications. And then what it'll do is you don't have to create the machine learning algorithm. It uses our cognitive services with that information that's already embedded in there, that's continually being improved and enhanced. And you have access to that today even. And I think that is pretty much, I know we are a little bit short on time, so just see if there's anything. Okay, so just a note on Microsoft's aspirations. So what are we trying to do at Microsoft? We want to enable machine learning and AI to have more general intelligence. And this helps, will benefit the evolution of AI by giving it more, by getting it to reason more like a person, by using multiple streams of information and using bits and pieces of that information to put it together to make a more informed decision. So that is something that's still in the future. Next, we want to master human and AI collaborations. The machines are not taking over the world. They are going to help us to be more efficient and more productive and focus our attentions on the thing that we are good at. We are good at creating. We are good at strategizing. Those are the things that we are good at. Stop laughing at the subtitles. So those are the things that we are good at. And we want to ensure that humans have more time to do those kind of things. And then last, we want to improve AI, that it is able to address and facilitate socio-economical issues. We want to address the concerns regarding AI. Do we want AI to take over the world? No, we definitely don't want to end up in a Terminator movie. And like there are a lot of things that AI can do better than us. And we need to find that tipping point, or basically we need to find that golden spot where humans and machines collaborate to do the best that both of us can do together. And that is where we are going with terms of AI. And there are some links in the slides, and that's all from me. Thanks.
Thank you, Minette. So did any one of you think that it could be that easy to use AI? Yes? Seem pretty easy? Okay, granted, it is far more complicated than that. But really what Minette was trying to get across is that every single one of you can start your journey. So what we do know is that AI is changing the way that we work, live, and play. And this now presents a significant opportunity to new entrants to come into the market and disrupt age-old legacy business processes and organizations. So please, keep evolving, keep learning your skills. This is an area that we need to keep investing in, and we as Microsoft most certainly are. So we now have joining us an attorney of the High Court of South Africa. He has over 15 years' experience navigating the complex transactional and regulatory matters associated with corporate law and commercial business affairs. He has deep expertise in cross-border, multi-industry sector engagements with a focus on corporate finance, IPOs, mergers and acquisitions, joint ventures, restructuring, and a few more, I'm sure. So a wealth of knowledge over there. With the rise of cloud computing, he has focused his legal approach to the field of privacy and data protection, and more recently, artificial intelligence. He guides Microsoft, our customers, and our partners through the complex and dynamic web of local, regional, international data protection laws as they relate to their online and offline businesses. Here to talk to us about doing ethical business, please welcome the man that gives Harvey Specter a run for his money, Theo Watson.
I'm going to have to work on that bio. It sounds really, really formal, and I'm a lot more fun than that, I assure you. So, Natasha, thank you very much, and good afternoon to everybody here. I don't know if you are really into mangoes, but if you are, I think you've got some problems. Listening to Manette speak, it occurred to me that the thing about artificial intelligence, and particularly the machine learning aspect of it, is you take that one single image or those 100,000 images, you upload it to the machine, and you think it's all great and it's done. Do you realize that if you use that algorithm and you use that particular learning, every single machine in the world would be ultimately reaching the same conclusion? So the learning capacity of these artificial intelligence endeavors is phenomenal. If you think about how you go about learning, how you go about teaching your children, it's a long, tedious process. With AI, it's almost immediate, and the number of machines that can learn is exponential. So if you make a mistake in that mango artificial intelligence scenario, you actually are potentially making a mistake worldwide. And that is the reason I'm coming to talk to you today. It's all about trying to do business ethically. And I went around and I thought to myself, what is ethics? And I looked at the crowd here in front of me, the audience, and I thought to myself, well, who perhaps has a Christian background? Hands up. Muslim, ethnic, atheist. And you start beginning to think about where our values come from, the background to those, and how it impacts how we are going to determine what is right and what is wrong. So ethics is a particularly complex scenario based on our history, based on our culture, our religious beliefs, and our values. And as diverse as that is, we somehow are busy thinking about how we're going to train this into an artificial intelligence system. So I want to take a small step back, because we're sitting and talking about artificial intelligence, but we really aren't thinking about what's empowering it, where it's all coming from. And I think you are all fully aware of the fourth industrial revolution, what it's all about. In essence, we're starting to see how the physical world, the biological world, the digital world are all melting together. And we've sort of seen this kind of thing happen before. We start thinking about the steam locomotive. We start thinking about cars and the internal combustion engine. We start thinking about how electricity has changed the world. There's always been some interesting platform play, some technology that has driven us into a new revolution. And I think we could probably all guess what that is at the moment: cloud computing. So at the base of what we're seeing when you heard Manette speak, that massive computing power, the ability to collect tons of data, is probably all based on cloud computing. So as we see the cloud growing, we're going to start seeing things like artificial intelligence grow itself. I put this picture up because, again, while the focus today is going to be on ethics and AI, this understanding of the cloud and trusting your service providers and provisioners of AI is going to be fundamentally important in what you do. In the old days, if you wanted to travel to Dubai, you could get into your car and you could go. You're in control of what's going on. It's your car, it's your road. But as we started moving into the cloud, that is not the scenario we face anymore. So similarly, just as you move away from your car and you get in an aeroplane, you release control and you hope that ultimately that aeroplane is going to be able to travel in the way it needs to, that it's got its safety checks, that its standards are up and proper, that the person that's piloting the aeroplane has got the right training. So it becomes fundamentally important. If you just think about it, before you step onto an aeroplane, you're quite happy to say, I'm giving up control. And in the same way that when you start using the cloud, which is ultimately going to power your artificial intelligence, you need to start understanding what your service provider is doing in the background. So from a Microsoft perspective, this has been a fundamental aspect of how we think about provisioning our cloud services. It's all about what we refer to as the Trusted Cloud Initiative. And we rely heavily on these 4 principles. You've got to have security, you've got to have privacy, compliance, and ultimately transparency. Now, this can all get a little bit boring and can all get very technical and academic. But if you just start thinking about who collects what data. So just think about it. We had mangoes up there, but how would you feel if we were collecting a whole bunch of faces? A little bit less comfortable. It's not a mango anymore, it's very real. So what are you doing with my face? Who has access to my image? Can you change it? What are you going to do with it? So these 4 principles become fundamental in ensuring that as the AI is provisioned on top of that cloud service, you can feel confident that you're going to start doing business in the right way. Manette drew this, but I thought just to reiterate, and as part of my presentation, we've always had this setup when it comes to artificial intelligence. So what builds up artificial intelligence? And it is really these 4 areas. But it's in the world of cognition that we're seeing the latest development happening. The machine is starting to think. And it's in that space that we're making the most progress. And again, Manette referred to the human parity scenario. And in particular, we've started seeing what the Skype translator can do. So I've got a video that's going to come up, and there are actually 2 videos, and I think they're great to play. I hope they'll come across nicely and you guys can see them. They're essentially our Skype technology. But there's a part of it that just sort of warms my heart when I start looking at it. And you can see kids talking to each other, you can see parents talking to each other. And the critical aspect in both these videos is that there is a language barrier that we've always had growing up. But it's Skype that's breaking down that language barrier. So I'm going to play the video, have a look at it, and hopefully these videos also warm your heart, because every time I look at them, I've got a smile on my face.
Hi, can you guess where I live?
¿Te encuentras en América del Norte?
Yes. Do you live in central Mexico?
Sí. ¿Te encuentras en Estados Unidos de América?
Yes. Do you live in a capital city?
Sí. ¿Estás cerca de Seattle?
You're very close to Seattle. Are you in Mexico City?
Sí. ¿Estás en Tacoma?
Yes. Very good guess.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Do you like living in Mexico City?
¿Te gusta vivir en la Ciudad de México?
Aquí está muy lindo.
Here is very nice.
What do you do for fun?
¿Qué haces para divertirte?
Voy a las playas de México.
I'm going to the beaches of Mexico.
I like to swim.
Me gusta nadar.
A mí también.
Me too.
Where in the world do you wish to travel?
¿A dónde en el mundo te gustaría viajar?
A Rusia.
To Russia.
¿Tú?
And you?
Everywhere.
Sería increíble algún día verte en México.
It would be amazing to see you someday in Mexico.
I would really like to visit you sometime.
Me gustaría mucho visitarte algún día.
A mí también.
Me too.
So I absolutely loved that. And you could just see those kids warming up to each other. And you know, there's a natural barrier around language, and artificial intelligence started to break that down. I'm going to play another video because that's perhaps starting to become technology that we're fairly comfortable using. But how about this? You've got 9 different languages being spoken across a number of screens and people all understanding each other. So I'm going to play this video because I think this really demonstrates just how fantastic artificial intelligence is starting to get.
So there's this app. Whenever you speak, and it's breaking language barriers. You want to transfer an idea to another person. This is Chinook Middle School, and they're speaking with parents like never before.
You've downloaded that Microsoft Translator app. Enable your phone to take a picture of this code, and then once you join, you're able to pick your language you'd like to have it speak.
They're trying to break the multi-language barrier by holding a conversation together.
In the bottom of our presentation, the translation just coming over in English.
How does it work? The sound waves are picked up by the microphone.
There was a question, and the library is open during tutorial.
So these parents speaking 9 different languages can hold one conversation together. They're using Microsoft AI technology, including a machine learning technique based on a form of computing called neural networks, inspired by human brains. Basically, it learns to translate based on real-world speech, not rules programmed in advance. That's Russell, the principal. He said he knows that
engaging the parent community leads to better outcomes for our students.
And at this school, they're using tools to bridge that communication gap.
It brings voices from abroad and makes us neighbors of people.
Have you ever felt a real need to do this? To communicate an idea to someone?
So I just love that. 9 different languages, everyone communicating at the same time. So I think Manette asked the question, who here is currently using AI? And I think there's not a person in the room who isn't. Anyone watching Spotify and Netflix using iTunes? I absolutely love it. Unfortunately, I've got one problem. I'm a great lover of anime, believe it or not. So if I could watch One Punch Man all day long, I could happily do that. However, what does my Netflix do? It focuses in on One Punch Man, and it starts delivering to me a whole bunch of suggestions, some really weird Japanese cartoons. And yeah, some of them I like, but some of them I don't like. Now, that all sounds good and well. What's the problem for Theo? The problem I'm having is that this artificial intelligence is beginning to exclude a whole bunch of opportunities for me, and I don't even know it's doing it. So there could be other animations, there could be other cartoons, there could be other really interesting sci-fi programs that I'd like to watch. But because it's honed in on 1 or 2 programs that I've enjoyed, it starts to exclude this field of opportunity. And that is a problem for me. Is anyone using Office 365? Not enough hands, guys. We all know that we have a focused inbox and we have a less focused inbox. I am still struggling to train my AI to put what I need in the focused inbox. Of course, this is new technologies and they're learning all the time. But the concern is that as we start driving the artificial intelligence story behind everything, it is creating problems for us. What happens if I miss that fundamental email that I should have seen? What happens if there was that great opportunity to go and watch a film that I wanted to and would change my life and I don't see it? This is the problem that we have. So a year or so ago, Brad Smith, who is our president and chief legal officer, together with Harry Shim, who leads our research and development aspect of Microsoft, got together and they wrote this book called The Future Computed. Anyone had an opportunity to hear about or read The Future Computed? It's free to download. It's about 70 pages long. It is beautifully written. It is simply written. And it addresses some of the fundamental issues that we are going to start to face in respect of artificial intelligence. And the core part of the book really focuses on us being critically minded when it comes to artificial intelligence. So as we start being fed that nice stream of suggestions from iTunes or from Netflix, or anything else, we start to say, hey, but isn't there something else out there? We need to be critically minded as we move forward. So I love this picture because it's a single guy sitting trying to figure out, it's the thinker, trying to figure out what's going to happen, what he should be doing. And in a sense, this is where we find ourselves. We need to be asking the question, ultimately, what is it that computers or AI should be doing for us? Do we want to get out of the driver's seat, or do we want to remain in the driver's seat? Or do we want to co-partner with AI? So, the follow-up picture is really fundamental to me, and it's less about the words here, but it's really about, it's not going to be that single thinker that's going to fix this. If we do not get together as lawyers, as philosophers, as poets, as artists, as legislators, as the guy in the street, we are not going to be able to understand how these computers are going to react, how that artificial intelligence is ultimately going to behave. It is going to be a collective effort from everyone, because ultimately everyone is going to be affected. So, what does AI ethics have to do with a gorilla? Anyone know? Should we ask Google? I've got nothing against Google, just so that you know I use Google. Okay. This poor guy, Jack Kielsen, a couple of years ago, started using one of their photographic uploadable apps. He put himself down there, and guess what? Unfortunately, it targeted him, his girlfriend, as gorillas. Why? I bet you there was a white guy that was uploading a whole bunch of data into the artificial intelligence. And it got this very, very wrong. He tweeted that there was a problem, made a joke of it. Google immediately contacted him and started changing that. But you heard Minetta refer to a bias. How's that for a bias? And just if you think that I've got a problem with Google, I don't. So, anyone heard of Tay? There we go. So Microsoft decided it's going to put up a little Twitter chatbot called Tay. And Tay was thinking about you. And it was really great. It was supposed to be something that was going to be good. That was Tay's image on Twitter. And the basic technology behind Tay was a kind of parrot learning. In other words, you could teach it. And it was a little experiment to see what we could teach with this chatbot. It took 16 hours, and dear old Tay had turned into a Nazi, essentially. And we had to take it down. And it was a bit of a PR nightmare for Microsoft. But at the same time, and I think it's the right thing, learning. So we're starting to see that there are concerns when it comes to intelligence, the biases, the opportunity to abuse. So, within Future Computed, Harry and Brad set out this framework. And this is really the core of what I want to talk to you about today. This is what it's all about. This is the framework that we're looking at when it comes to dealing with artificial intelligence. Is this the ultimate solution? Is this the only solution? Probably not. But I think it's a fantastic foundation as far as the starting point is concerned. And we all need to make sure that we're thinking about the framework from a legal perspective, an ethical perspective, a values-based perspective. And I think this is a great opportunity to use this framework to do just that. So, fairness and ethics. I had an opportunity not too long ago to talk around ethics and AI at the University of Pretoria. And it was a wonderful discussion around fairness. Think about it along the lines of you applying for a loan. You sit in front of a particular bank manager, you put your financials down, and that bank manager is sitting there and thinking, okay, well, you know, is this person creditworthy or is it not? Well, what happens if you happen to be a woman who's recently had a baby, just finished her studies, doesn't have a great record in terms of employment because of having studied and having a baby? How is that bank manager going to look at that particular individual, either from a historic capacity in earning or a future capacity in earning? How do they weigh that up? Now think about putting that into an artificial intelligence system. It removes potential biases. but only if the algorithm and the data that's being fed into that artificial intelligence is being done in a manner which is consistent with fairness. So fundamental to moving off the starting block is fairness. Reliability and safety. The first thing that comes to mind is driverless cars. Anyone been following what happened in Arizona last year? Fantastic place if you were looking into building driverless cars, using AI for that opportunity. Arizona was in fact at the forefront of it was leading the particular race. And then there was the unfortunate incident where the lady on the bike was involved in the accident with the driverless car. And guess what happened? Immediately, Arizona shut down absolutely as far as that opportunity and that initiative was concerned. It's a little bit sad because if you want to think about it, there was something, an opportunity to learn, and also that would increase reliability and safety. We want to know that when we're going to use an artificial intelligence system, it is going to be reliable and it is going to be safe. Privacy and security. I've got a little video after this. I don't know if I want to show it. We're running out of time. I'm getting yes and I'm getting no. The artificial intelligence would probably have been a lot more certain. So privacy and security is fundamental. You know, I go back to why I opened with the cloud and the Trusted Cloud Initiative. Again, we talked just about facial recognition. I got real concerns in that space. You know, who's tracking me? What are they doing with my information? What kind of standards are they adhering to? If I ask for it to be deleted, will it be deleted, etc.? These are all the fundamental questions that we need to be asking. I'm going to play the video. I don't know if it's going to work so well. It's very, very funny. And it's all about privacy at the end of the day. So it's about a guy that's going to order some pizza. And he's talking to a pizza delivery firm, and they've got a telephone operator who is hooked into the system and has all the information on this guy. If you can follow on the screens, there's some really funny little bits if you can read. So let's play the video and let's see how it goes.
Pizza Palace, guaranteed hot in 30 minutes or it's free. This is Mary. May I take your order?
Hi, Mary. Yes, I'd like to order.
Is this Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Thank you for calling again, sir. I share your national identification number as 610-204-999-8-45-54610. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly. I see you live at 736 Montrose Court, but you're calling from your cell phone. Are you at home?
I'm just leaving work, but I'm...
Oh, we can deliver to Bob's Auto Supply. That's at 175 Lincoln Avenue, yes?
No, I'm on my way home. How do you know all this stuff?
We just got wired into the system, sir.
Oh, well, I'd like to order a couple of your double meat special pizzas.
Sure thing. There'll be a new $20 charge for those, sir.
What do you mean?
Sir, the system shows me that your medical records indicate that you have high blood pressure and extremely high cholesterol. Luckily, we have a new agreement with your national health care provider that allows us to sell you double meat pies as long as you agree to waive all future claims of liability.
What?
Do you agree, sir? You can sign the form when we deliver, but there is a charge for processing. The total is $67 even.
$67?
Well, that includes the delivery surcharge of $15 to cover the added risk to our driver of traveling through an orange zone.
I live in an orange zone?
Now you do. Looks like there was another robbery on Montrose yesterday. You could save $48 if you ordered our special Sprout Submarine Combo and picked it up yourself. Comes with tofu sticks. Those are very tasty, sir. Good value, too.
But I want double meat.
Well, I'm sure you can afford the $67 then. You just bought those tickets to Hawaii. They weren't cheap, eh? Oh, but I see you checked out the budget beach bum at the library last week. Up to you, sir.
All right, all right. I'll get the Sprout subs.
Good choice, sir. Gotta watch that waist if you're hitting the beach, eh? 42 inches. Wow. Man, I'd say tofu and sprouts is like required.
That's how much?
Just between you and me, there's a $3 off coupon in this month's Total Men's Fitness magazine. Your wife Betty subscribes to that, right? Anyhow, click that and it's $19.99 even. Whoa, looks like you maxed out on all your credit cards. Bring cash, okay?
You want to stop this from happening?
So, I mean, that's really funny, but if you just start thinking about the massive data, medical data, financial data, location data, it's actually quite frightening. So obviously that can be used in an artificial intelligence scenario, but in the same way, it's really all about privacy. And we need to be thinking about privacy and security upfront. Inclusiveness. Some of you may sort of think, you know, what's inclusiveness? Isn't that fairness? But we also want to ensure that an artificial intelligence system is ultimately going to be used by anyone. So think about people that might be deaf. people that might be disabled in other ways, people that have got partial sight or blind. We want to make sure that as we build artificial intelligence out, we're thinking about absolutely everyone and making sure we include them. And then it comes down to the two, call them foundational aspects, the transparency and the accountability. And the transparency is great because I can talk about fairness and I can talk about reliability and safety and privacy and security, but unless I'm being transparent about it, unless I can demonstrate to you that this is how I'm working with things, think about, here's a standard to which I'm operating. That standard is being audited by a globally recognized auditor that says, yes, Microsoft is looking after your privacy. It is using that standard in respect of security. It is complying with that set of ethics principles. You want to make sure that your AI provider or platform is being transparent. If you can't demonstrate transparently what you're doing, none of the other stuff really counts. And then obviously last, we've got accountability. We have got to be accountable ultimately for provisioning the service. And it's going to be really, really tough to determine accountability because that's when the lawyers really start fighting because it's about who's liable for what. And that's going to be some tough stuff. And again, in the lecture that I did a couple of weeks back, it was, are we going to have some kind of fault-based system to determine who's accountable and liable? Or are we going to do something like the airlines do at the end of the day and sort of say, okay, you can't sue me for absolutely everything, but I'll be able to pay you a small sort of a fine ultimately that will hopefully compensate you for what's going on. These things are still being worked out. They are not easy, and they're not going to be easy, but they are going to require your participation, the technology provider's participation. So unless this is front and center, you do have a problem. So again, while this is perhaps not the sexiest part of the entire couple of days here, I really want you to be able to take back with you that Microsoft is treating this as a fundamental. We would ask that you treat it as a fundamental. We're starting to see people that we talk about a Hippocratic oath for coders. We would like it that anyone in this room that is coding, anyone in this room that's going to build an artificial intelligence system, starts thinking in this way. Take that Hippocratic oath, whatever it may or may not be or may not look like, but think about it in that way, front and center, foundational in what it is that you're doing. And here I end with the lesson. Thank you very, very much for your time. I trust it's been an interesting opportunity to engage.
Theo, thank you so much. Trust is such an important principle that governs both our personal and our private relationships. And in this new digital era, it is critical that we understand how we might potentially abusing each other's trust while we're going through business. So very important insight shared, and thank you once again. Okay, so we are now going to break for lunch, which is going to end at 1:30. Straight after lunch, we're going to commence with the 4 breakout sessions, which will be hosted upstairs. You will have the opportunity to attend 2 of those sessions. So every 30 minutes, you will get the opportunity to rotate and then actually hear another one of the speakers present. We will then go into our second round of networking. Again, the mentors will be upstairs, and you have the opportunity to, again, solicit some guidance over there. We will meet back here at 3:30, and then we are going to have an absolutely phenomenal guest speaker who represents everything that is right about South Africa. She is a 24-year-old scientist, but not only a scientist, a rocket scientist. So Lunka Matsibi will be sharing her story with us, which I think will be extremely inspirational. So with that, please go and enjoy lunch. Remember, there are different areas. So we have a vegetarian option out the front of the venue. I believe there is something being served over here and also towards the left. So enjoy the rest of it, and I'll see you at 3:30.
Santa Rosa, Sikuani Pomakachi, Kusipata Uposimu.